Monday Night Football just wrapped up, so I would like to welcome you to Monday Night Mock, and I got a 2-round mock draft, new draft order. Let's get into it. No trades, and this is what I would do. And we're going to start with the Tennessee Titans. Preferably, you would like to trade out of this spot for a team moving up to try to get a quarterback. Again, no trade. So we're just going to take the best non-quarterback prospect on your board. And for me, that's probably going to be Ruben Bain. I want to get positional value. So sorry, Caleb Downs, you play safety, pass rush, premium position. You can make the case. I know Arvell Reese is a hot name here. Bain, a way more polished prospect when it comes to him being a pass rusher. Listen, if Arvell Reese is going in the top 5, it's because teams view him as a pass rusher. Bain, he's a little more complete in that regard. He's got, I think, almost like 30 pounds on him. So Tennessee Titans, we're going to go with Bain. I know wide receiver is going to also be talked about here as well, but I think this wide receiver class is starting to look pretty solid, that maybe you can wait to day 2 to maybe grab another guy to help that wide receiver room in general. But we're going with Bain. And then the New York Giants, another team that probably would like to trade down. What I'm going to do is I want to focus on helping Jackson Dart. I mean, the Giants, they just freshly fired Shane Bowen, their DC. But I want to focus on helping Jackson Dart. We could take care of the defense sometime in the second round, perhaps. But that means probably wide receiver, because the wide receiver class, at least at the top part, I think is better than the offensive line class. Question is, what wide receiver? Who? I want to swing with probably the guy that I think has the best upside. I want to go for a guy that I think can be a top 10, top 15 wide receiver in the NFL sooner rather than later. And when it comes to the top 3 in this class being Jordan Tyson, being Mekhi Lemon or Carnell Tate, I think Tyson has that better upside. People are going to be like, well, look, he's hurt a lot. The ACL injury his freshman year. The broken collarbone last season. He's been hampered by a hamstring this year, but he returned against Colorado and looked good. Okay, but none of those correlate. Medicals at the combine, they will tell us more. Till then, I'm going to get Jordan Tyson to pair up with Malik Neighbors, with Wandale being a free agent. New Orleans Saints. Is a quarterback going here? No, not yet. Tyler Shuck, last 2 starts, I think he's looked relatively solid. Is it perfect? No, but it's not going to, because, well, that offense has some question marks. Maybe with this pick, you're like, okay, well, do you go with a wide receiver to add to the room and help Tyler Shuck? Ideally, but I think the best fit with Chris Olave would be Jordan Tyson. Maybe you make the case for Carnell Tate or Mekhi Lemon here, and I think that's fine. But instead, this is where I'm actually going to go with Arvell Reese, because the pass rush, it needs help. Chase Young, currently their most consistent pass rusher this year, and that's honestly not saying much. This team can't get to the passer. So Arvell Reese, a guy that has been playing all over the front 7 for the Buckeyes, can get after it just from being strong and explosive. And if you're taking him in the top 5, you're hoping to hone in and polish and add to that pass rush toolbox. But he's definitely got some traits there for you. But look at here. We're here at pick 4 and no quarterback has been taken. That ends right here, my friend. Listen, if you're Aaron Glenn, you want to go into year 2, because there was already rumbles about fire Aaron Glenn in year 1. I don't think, if you're a head coach, you don't want to be fired before you had a chance to go out and at least grab a franchise quarterback. You want to at least have some hope, some like, hey, this is my dude. We're going to develop him. Give me some time. And typically, drafting a quarterback can extend your shelf life. Again, not always the case, but I think the earlier that you do that, the more grace you're going to be given. So if you're Aaron Glenn, you probably want to do that early. We get quarterback 1 at this pick. Who's quarterback 1? Is it Dante Moore? I don't know. He might end up returning to school. Is it Ty Simpson? That's not that sexy. Fernando Mendoza, I think, is the most sexy option here. He's got an NFL arm. He's got prototypical quarterback size. And you got enough picks here that you could surround him with some talent offensively. So we're going to go ahead, take Fernando Mendoza. Matter of fact, if you go to our good friends at Kalshi, they will tell you Fernando Mendoza is most likely going to be the first overall pick. Right now, the chances 43%. And I like Kalshi a lot. I always, Kalshi, if you're unfamiliar with Kalshi, they're the first and the largest federally regulated prediction market in the US. It's legal in all 50 states. And it's an exchange. You're not betting against the house. You're betting against other people in terms of what you think is going to happen. So a majority of people, and this is what, up to almost 38,000. Oh, that's how much money people have already invested in it. But yeah, I mean, you got a bunch of people saying, hey, we think this is going to happen. First overall pick, Fernando Mendoza. But it doesn't just stop there, because they give you better odds than honestly most sportsbook. Let's go to Heisman Trophy right now. Yes, it is Fernando Mendoza. He is a whopping 50% with the lead. Golly, 18 million? That's how much money people have invested in the Heisman Trophy? Golly, here on Kalshi. Get in on the action. But for instance, let me hide my camera real quick. If you put down $10, you'll get 20 back. For reference, if you go to FanDuel, if you put down 10 on Fernando, you get 18 back. So you're going to be making more money on Kalshi if Fernando Mendoza hits. But look at this, Julian Sand at 19. Honestly, Jeremiah Love, I kind of like him as maybe this guy that can potentially get in there. Honestly, Diego Pavia isn't a bad option either. But what does Jeremiah Love would get us? Let me hide my camera again. So $10, $59. I think right now Jeremiah Love's at plus 450 on FanDuel. So let's check out what $10 would get us there. So it would get us 55 back. So yeah, you're just getting better odds here on Kalshi. And they do live trading. So if a game's going on and you want out or you want in, they don't shut games, or they don't block games out early. You are always, you could always go on there and trust that you have an option that you go on there and be like, well, hey, ooh, South Carolina, they're up by like 27, but I think A&M could come back. I'm going to put some money on A&M to win here. And then they have the biggest comeback in SEC history. Oh man, that sucks. But it's not just football here. They do predictions for everything from news. You got political events, culture. I mean, what will Last Christmas enter the top 10? Oh, wow. That's nifty. Top album on Spotify for the US this year. I don't listen to music that much anymore, so maybe not something I should get in on. This might be more my bread and butter. Zootopia 2 Rotten Tomatoes score. Do you think it's above 90? Will it be above 92, above 95? Okay, so we can get in on some action there. But Kalshi is a really fun way to play. It goes beyond the NFL or football in general, and it is a trade market, so you're not betting against the house, because we know those guys in Vegas, they got their ear to each and every game. It's kind of hard to beat their spreads more times than not. But our friends over at Kalshi, they're going to give you $10 when you sign up with promo code BROSHMO and you trade your first $100. So check out Kalshi. It's a fun way to play. But let's get back into our mock draft, because this is a 2-rounder. So we still got a ways to go. And we're going to be here with the Las Vegas Raiders. They just fired Chip Kelly. Let's go ahead and get this quarterback of the future, because I think there's going to be a lot of turnover in Las Vegas. I'm going to go with Dante Moore, because I think he's got bigger upside than Ty Simpson. He's also younger. Again, I get it. Todd McShay came out. Hey, a lot of people within Dante Moore's circle says that he might end up returning. I don't think this is the same instance as a Dramon McCoy or a Arch Manning. because, well, Dante Moore, I think, can be the first overall pick, can be quarterback one in this class. So that's a little more tempting. So we're going to wait and see when it comes to that. But Raiders, they're going to get their QB of the future. Cleveland Browns, we could go for quarterback 3 here. Shadur coming off his first start, and he wins. Was it perfect? No, but it wasn't bad. He's going to be starting this upcoming weekend as well. So let's just say that they have their quarterback. Let's just say that. Let's help. If this is their quarterback, let's help their quarterback. I think I'm going to go with a wide receiver here because I still value the wide receivers on the board more than I do the offensive line. And we could just address offensive line later because, golly, that Cleveland Browns offensive line is going to look a heck of a lot different next season. So I'm going to go with Carnell Tate. Mekhi Lemon seems very similar to a lot of the parts they already have in that wide receiver room. I'm looking for something a little bit different. Remember, variety is the spice of life. It's also the spice of your wide receiver room. Let's get variety. And Carnell Tate, a guy that can do a little bit of everything. Washington Commanders. Golly, this is a tough one because you want to take a swing on a position of value here for the most part. That's where my head first goes. Unless there's truly a blue chip, exquisite, maybe some people would throw the word out, a generational prospect on the board, then that might flip my mind. Kind of depends on how you view Caleb Downs because the secondary has been terrible for the Commanders. I know you want to help. Jaden Daniels, Mekhi Lemon, I wouldn't mind at this spot. A pass rusher, I don't think I'd mind at this spot. I don't know if I'd take a pass rusher here, though, over Caleb Downs. Then again, if I'm the Bengals, and I know we're on the Commanders pick, but if I'm the Bengals, it's like, golly, dude, that defense is so bad that you have to swing on a position of value. But I think for the Commanders, ideally, you probably trade down and acquire more draft capital. It's one of the oldest rosters in the NFL. You need to stop that. You need to get younger. So trade down, get more picks, but we can't trade down in this. I think I'm just going to go with Caleb Downs because I think he's that special of a prospect. And then the Cincinnati Bengals. I've seen some people spit offense for this pick. And listen, if your defense just wasn't just historically bad, I wouldn't be against that. I've seen Jeremiah Love at this pick, and I'm just like, yo, that defense, like, you need to start taking care of it, both free agency and in the draft. So I want to continue to take care of that defense. Peter Woods. I think he's kind of a fringe blue chip prospect just because he's a freak athlete at 6'3", 315. You look at the defensive line in general, there's not a lot of optimism. There's just not, especially when Trey Hendrickson decides to go ta-ta, bye-bye. So we're going to go with Peter Woods to help out the defensive line for the Cincinnati Bengals. We love the NFL draft, and now my draft guide is available for purchase. It comes with over 500 player backgrounds and close to 300 player evals. It updates throughout the whole draft cycle. So when I add a new eval or I change my rankings, you're going to be the first to know. It's going to have all the pro day and combine numbers along with analytics. And it's a Google spreadsheet for right now. So you have to include your email with the purchase, but we will be switching over to a website at the end of the year. And if you get it now, it's going to be cheaper now than it will be later. It's a great way to support the channel. And as always, much appreciated, much obliged. Pick 9, Arizona Cardinals. I almost went with Jeremiah Love. I think if the right side of the offensive line was a little bit more put together, I probably would have sent it with that pick. I think I would have. But I look at the right side of the offensive line and I'm like, you know what? You're staring down the first offensive lineman off the board. You get your pick. So let's just go ahead and get our pick. If you're not new to the channel, you know I'm a big Francis Mauigoa guy. I think he can play tackle in the NFL. Apparently, most of, if not all, the NFL views him as a guard. And even if that's the case, that's fine. Isaiah Adams hasn't been great at guard. But having a guy that maybe could be able to push Jonah Williams, who I think is a free agent anyway, I think is also key. So I'm going to go with Francis Mauigoa since we just get our pick of offensive lineman. And then at number 10, it's my Miami Dolphins. Fins up, baby. Fins up. For me, this is either wide receiver or offensive line. Some people will be like, oh, why not take a quarterback here? Ty Simpson's there. It's like, well, if Mike McDaniel comes back and we're stuck with Tua on the roster for another season at least, just because of how his contract works, I think I would rather run it back and hope that next year's quarterback class is better. That's kind of where I'm at. So we're not doing quarterback. I've seen some people could bring up the defense, but if you're going to run it back with Tua, I think you have to continue to give him some help. Mekhi Lemon, I'm not opposed to Mekhi Lemon. I'm really not. I would love him for this pick, and I wouldn't mind. I think I'm actually going to do Spencer Fano because I think our offensive line is just horrible. It's not horrible. That's a bit of an exaggeration, but it's not great. It's not good. Fano, he can maybe challenge Austin Jackson at right tackle or Jonas Avenea at one of the guard spots. Maybe Savanea, he played tackle at Arizona. Kick him out to tackle because he has been horrible at guard this year. I think Fano gives you enough versatility that you can move parts around the offensive line and kind of see what the best fit is for everybody. So I think that's where I'm going to go. Los Angeles Rams, pick 11. This pick is via the Atlanta Falcons. And I was just going to take Mekhi Lemon and send it. To me, that felt like kind of the obvious pick. But then I thought in my head, I like experimenting with where Jeremiah Love can go. And I think this is kind of a viable option. Some people will talk about right tackle, right, with Rob Havenstein being a free agent. But what is it? Warren McClendon? It's kind of been okay when having to step in for Havenstein, who's currently on IR anyway. So maybe you have something at right tackle there. And you look at the offensive line. This is the thing when you're drafting running back in the first round, especially in the top half of the first round. I think you need to have a ton of confidence with your offensive line. And the Rams have that. You might be like Kyren Williams. Fun fact, you could have Jeremiah Love and Kyren Williams for a year and then move off of Kyren Williams. Because let's be honest, simply, Jeremiah Love is the better Notre Dame running back. That's just when it comes to how they project to the NFL. Kyren Williams has been great, but I think Love's just a bit different, man. He's just different. Size, speed. He's been an utter monster the last month. So, yeah, let's experiment with possible landing spots for Jeremiah Love because he's probably going in the top half of the first round. Minnesota Vikings, no Jeremiah Love here. And honestly, I was like looking around trying to figure out because I want to help JJ McCarthy. And I'm not saying that he doesn't have help. You could argue he has a lot better help than most rookie or first year starters at quarterback. But I don't think there's really, I don't think there's, do you take Mekhi Lemon? I don't know. I don't think so. I think I'm just going to keep it honest and just take the first corner off the board. Again, Jermod McCoy, we're going to pretend like he is returning. If Caleb Downs was here, I think you run that card in. He's not. Mansour Delane, though, I think he's a good fit for Brian Flores defense. Someone that can play. He plays super gritty. So he plays with that mindset that he kind of embodies what you want in a player that's in Flores' system. He could play man. He could also play zone because the Vikings, they've been playing a lot more zone. So he just checks a lot of boxes. He can play inside and out. So yeah, we're just going to send it with Mansour Delane, and then we'll see in round 2 what we can do for JJ McCarthy. Or we could replace JJ McCarthy with Ty Simpson, who is still on the board. Dallas Cowboys. I think this is you go defense heavy in this draft class. I think Keldrick Falk is a good fit. If you're going to be looking for a kind of a big guy, a big 4-3 end that could put his hand in the dirt, because right now that's what they have Clowney doing. I think Falk can be that guy, and he gives you some versatility to kick inside on passing downs. So yeah, we'll go with Falk here, and at least bare minimum, he's going to be a really good run defender. Carolina Panthers. I could take Ty Simpson here, but I always feel like I'm holding out hope with Bryce Young. The minute I give up on him, well, he then breaks the passing yard record for the Carolina Panthers. So he's just so frustrated. So I guess all you can do is just grab him more help. Makai Lemon is here. I'm willing to send it. I'm going to go with Makai Lemon. They could get off of Xavier Leggett. They can move him if they want to, or he could just, Lemon could be a part of that wide receiver room, can play in the slot. You got Coker there who can be a wide receiver 3/4. So you have all these weapons. Bryce Young has zero excuses. Kansas City Chiefs. Typically, this is a fun Kenyon Sadiq spot, but let's get some help for the defensive line, because we just saw Keldrick Falk go, and David Bailey is still here, and I utterly love David Bailey. I would take him as high as 8 to the Cincinnati Bengals. We're going to take him here for the Kansas City Chiefs. Get that pass rush. Pittsburgh Steelers. Oh, Aaron Rodgers, you're old. Ty Simpson is here on the board. We're going with Ty Simpson, quarterback of the future here for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I know that's going to make some of these Will Howard truthers mad, but Will Howard was like a 6th-round pick. Sorry. It's the truth. Houston Texans, pick 17. Not much is going to change here. I think going offensive line is kind of a premium for the Texans right now. And I would argue the best offensive lineman on the board could be probably Vega Iwane, the guard out of Penn State. I believe he's played a little bit of center. No, I know he's played both guard spots. I could be getting the center thing incorrect. Oh no, he's played a very little bit of center, but he's played some center nonetheless. Regardless, you get him in there. I think it's their left guard spot that's just kind of trash right now. From like Lincoln Tomlinson to Juice Scruggs right now. I don't know. Regardless, let's protect CJ Stroud and get maybe more consistency in our run game. Detroit Lions. And this kind of felt like a Lions pick. If I'm just looking for the Robin to Aiden Hutchinson's Batman, I'm pretty sure Aiden Hutchinson was the only guy with a sack this past weekend. I could be wrong about that, but I remember watching the game, and it felt like he was the only player for Detroit that actually got a sack, and when it mattered, by the way, in OT, final play. But let's get him a running mate. I think TJ Parker's kind of the perfect Robin in this draft class. He does a lot of things really, really well. Is there that one elite thing that he can hang his hat on? Not really, but he's a 3-down player who can get after it, especially if he's playing opposite of Aiden Hutchinson. So I think this is kind of the perfect landing spot for Parker. Baltimore Ravens. I had a little difficulty with this one. I'm not going to lie to y'all. Ultimately, I was like, well, okay. Let's get some guard help, because the run game has been on the struggle bus this year. The guard play has been on the struggle bus in general this year. And you know what? Caden Proctor, I'm not out on him being a tackle. I know you got Ronnie Staley there, but Stanley could maybe mentor Proctor into being a tackle there. Remember, they had Orlando Brown, so they don't mind having big boys at tackle. But at the very least, he improves the guard position now. So I'm going to go with Caden Proctor. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm a mark for Cassius Howe. I know he's got short arms, but he can get after the passer. Let's have him be the Devin White to Levante David. where he's going to be doing a lot as a pass rusher. But I'm not afraid, because he's so athletically gifted, to have him drop back into coverage. So that's my plan with Cassius Howe with this pick. Pick 21, Buffalo Bills. Well, I think it's very apparent that they need a wide receiver. With Keon Coleman out, outside of Khalil Shakir, you couldn't really rely on anybody. And I think you could say the same about Dalton Kincaid being out, probably more so. But let's be honest, it's not like Keon Coleman was burning the world when he was out there. And now he's kind of in the doghouse because he's missing team meetings and such. So let's just go ahead and replace him. Denzel Boston feels like the guy. He's not just a big body possession dude that can win downfield. He's got some speed to him. He's got some good lawn speed. And I think that's what you're looking for if you're the Buffalo Bills, someone who can stretch the field, but also win the contested catch point. And Boston is hella good at that. Cleveland Browns, with our first pick, we took Carnell Tate. Now we go to the offensive line because a couple of good players have fallen. If you're not new to the channel, you know that I like me some Trevor Gooseby. I'm not saying he's a polished prospect. This is his first year as a starter, but I think he's looked really good. He's very athletically gifted. So he's going to come in. He's played both right and left tackle. So he's going to come in and he's going to challenge for one of those tackle spots. Again, I just want to help seemingly, potentially, the franchise quarterback in Shedeur Sanders. San Francisco 49ers. Typically, this is a spot that I like to go with offensive tackle or offensive line in general. With the apparent Brandon Ayuk, we're having a divorce. I look at the wide receiver room, and Juwan Jennings is a free agent, and it's like, okay, outside of Pearsall, I don't feel great about the wide receiver room. So maybe we get in on this wide receiver class before the run really starts. So I'm going to take a guy that I'm not saying he's Debo-esque, but he's fast and he's thick. I'm taking Louisville's Chris Bell. He's fast, he's thick, he's big. The route tree has opened up this year. He's just playing really good football. All right, Dallas Cowboys. Our first pick was Keldrick Folk. Our next pick, I think you go corner because you could always kick Deron Bland inside in the slot. You probably are done with Diggs. So adding more depth more depth and competition to that cornerback room, it's not a bad idea. I'm an utter mark for Arizona State's Keith Abney. I think he's hecka good. I just don't get why he doesn't go higher in most people's mocks. I'm starting to see him in people's top 50. So like in this case, Trevor Sikkema has got him in the top 50. I think this is Trevor's board. Or you got Dane Brugler talking about how he was just outside of his top 50. So now he's starting to garner some of that hype. And it's well deserved. He's hella good. Los Angeles Chargers. All right, well, we got the Chargers here, and I wouldn't mind going with a guard. I don't know if there's a guard that I like that much that I'd take them at the back end of the first round with Vega off the board. That's just where I'm at. So now I switch my attention to the defensive side of the football. They got some free agents on the interior, so maybe we get another thick boy up in there. So why not get not just a thick boy, not just a strong boy, but a quick, an explosive, a fast boy. I think this dude's just such a physical and athletic freak. It's his first year as a full-time starter, and he's been learning things, but he has come up in big moments and made some big plays. And I think the first-round hype is going to be there. Amari Washington out of Oregon. I think he had a vital pass breakup or batted ball. Was it on? I think it was on the fourth down against USC, where I was like, oh, wow, Jordan Mailata that was not an accurate ball. because it was tipped at the line. But yeah, Washington, he's been really solid this year. He really has, considering he's a first-year starter. Chicago Bears. I think you probably look for tackle. I don't know how they feel about Ozzy Trapillo. And depending on how they do feel about him, that could change what I'm about to do here. But knowing that there is a struggle in this class when it comes to tackles and arm length, I think I want to get in on one of these tackles that I know won't have an arm length issue. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead because they have Braxton Jones and Theo Benedict as free agents after the season. I'm going to go with Caleb Lomu, who I think, honestly, he's maybe another year away from being a top 10 pick in the NFL draft. It's just someone that needs, I think, a little bit more time. But you could bring him in, develop him, or see who wins out between him and Trapillo. Seattle Seahawks. Again, this is what I would do draft, and I like taking a corner for them. You got Job and Wolin, they're free agents. They could let both walk, but even if they only let one of them walk, you're still looking at the other cornerback position like, hey, we should do something about that because Witherspoon primarily plays in the slot. So I'm going to go ahead and snag Colton Hood, corner out of Tennessee. He's been having a phenomenal year, and that's saying a lot considering, well, how bummish that secondary has been for Tennessee. This is pick 2 for the New York Jets. We took Fernando Mendoza, and I think, yeah, we could go in on defense, or maybe you just kick that can to the second round. We've seen a bit of a run on wide receivers. So if I'm Aaron Glenn, I got Garrett Wilson, who's going to be my Amon-Ra St. Brown. And what I mean by that is that's who I'm funneling all my targets to. But I need someone who could potentially stretch the field, kind of be a game breaker in that regard. Someone that I could also use as a gadget player, maybe bring in on sweeps and whatnot. There is a player who's starting to garner a lot of hype. And I really liked him when he played at NC State, and I'm liking him right now. Casey Concepcion out of Texas A&M. Playing really good football this year. Philadelphia Eagles. Dallas Goedert, he's a free agent. Kenny Sadiq, he's still on the board. He's easily tight end 1. We're just going to do it. Come back for their next pick. Denver Broncos. This is honestly a roster that doesn't need a ton, but when I do look at, okay, if I had to focus in and on a position specifically and call it a need, it'd probably be linebacker. Arvell Reese technically is the only linebacker off the board. So we kind of get our pick. My linebacker 2, Sonny Styles. I'm going to go ahead and grab Styles for the Broncos. Which, if I'm the New England Patriots, I would be pissed. I just would. Is what it is. Because I kind of want to go with the linebacker, and I think I still am. Because CJ Allen's having a really good year for the Bulldogs. Sounds like the injury he had in the Texas game is something we're not going to have to worry too much about. I don't recall if he played this week. And against Charlotte, who would have thought? I didn't watch Georgia play Charlotte. Oh, and you call yourself draft analyst. Oh, I'm sorry. I watched the important games. Just happened to not watch Georgia take on Charlotte because they pounded them, and they should. They should. Charlotte did cover, though. That's the thing. When Georgia's like, I think, a 37 or 38 point favorite, usually more times than not, the other team's going to cover that. All right. Anywho, I'm pulling this sucker up. I wouldn't be surprised if they told CJ Allen to take the week off, get healthy. Yeah, it looks like Chris Cole took a lot of the snaps in this game. So, yeah, they're probably gearing up for Allen to be healthy for maybe Georgia Tech, which is kind of a must-win for Georgia if you think about it, just with how many potential 10-2 teams there are. So, yeah, we're going to go with CJ Allen there. Bam. Los Angeles Rams. This is their second pick. We took Jeremiah Love, and I could already hear the comment section. I can't wait to see it. I just can't wait to see it. Guys, we're experimenting. Where can Love go? We haven't taken him to the Rams yet. I think maybe here, Avion Terrell, he's just such a great fit at corner, and they've got a lot of good play out of their cornerbacks this season. Manuel Forbes has kind of revitalized his career, which is great to see. Kobe Durant, though, is a free agent. Witherspoon, I believe, is also a free agent. Roger McCreary, who they acquired, is also a free agent. So, yeah, I think going corner makes a lot of sense. Terrell, I think, is a good fit for their scheme. Not a lot of schemes in the NFL. Not a lot of schemes in the NFL will not mind having a shorter corner play on the outside. The few that do, though, are one like the Rams under Shula there. On to round 2. We did round 1. So Tennessee, we took Ruben Bain. I think this is where we get our receiver. I think I'm just looking for a guy that does everything hella well. Jeremy Bernard, man, he's just phenomenal. He might not blow you away with speed, but he's got good size. He's quick. He's a polished route runner, knows how to get open. He is tough to bring down after the catch. So I'm going to go with Bernard to help out Cam Ward. New York Giants. I took Jordan Tyson. I think I could switch gears to the defense now. This cornerback room needs to add some players. It just does. Flott will be a free agent. I'm going to go with Brandon Cease, who unfortunately had the bad game against A&M, but up until that part, golly, he was phenomenal. He's a great athlete with a great build. Good length, too. New Orleans Saints. I took Arvell Reese, and now I'm going to jump to the offense. I think I'm going to go with Chris Brazzell, because, again, I'm looking for a certain type of wide receiver, someone with some size, someone who can stretch the field. Brazzell, he does exactly that. New York Jets, we took Fernando Mendoza. We took Casey Concepcion. Now we're going to jump gears to the defense. Christian Miller, I think, being available here early in the second round is exceptional value. You traded away Quinnen Williams, so we're going to go ahead and snag Christian Miller. Las Vegas Raiders, we got the quarterback of the future. We could grab some offensive line help, but I don't think there's a ton of great options. I kind of like the idea of taking Poncho, the center from Oregon, and having him come in and play guard next to Jackson Powers Johnson, just like they did a little over a year ago. So I like that. I like that idea. I'm not going to do that here. Instead, I'm going to get someone that can be a pass rusher across from Max Crosby. That man's name is going to be Joshua Josephs out of Tennessee. Absolute pterodactyl wingspan. Good explosiveness as well. Cleveland Browns. Again, we're building around Shedeur Sanders. We got Tate. We got Gooseby. I think, and I just brought this guy up, that I wanted to take him for the Raiders. I ended up not. But with how different this offensive line is going to look for the Browns, I think I don't mind going in on a guy that can play center or guard. Because, dude, their whole interior, their starters and interior are all free agents. They might bring one or two of those guys back, but that still means you're going to have to replace the other. I'm a lot higher on Poncho than the general consensus, as you can see. I think he's hella good. I believe in Samoans who just beat the hell out of people, and Poncho would classify as one of those. Houston Texans. We took a guard in the first. I think we're going to stay with the interior, specifically jump into the defense, though. We saw Christian Miller come off the board. Amari Washington's already off the board. I think Caden McDonald is that next guy, and then you get a teardrop. So let's grab McDonald, who could come in, be a stabilizing force, someone who's going to be out there all three downs and just be consistent. Right now, I think the ceiling is fairly low. It's fairly low. The floor is kind of moderate when it comes to the interior of the defensive line for the Texans. So McDonald, he would just help elevate that. Pick 40, Cincinnati Bengals. I took Peter Woods, and I'm not mad about it. I think I don't love a lot of the corners at this juncture in the second round. I just don't. That's just where I'm at. Especially with Jermon McCoy not being in this mock draft, it really muddies the waters. So instead, I'm just going to keep helping the pass rush. Let's keep helping that pass rush, baby. And I'm going to go with another freak because we know the Bengals, they like those relative athletic score guys. And I'm going to take Mateo Uiagalelei out of Oregon, coming off a really good game against USC where he had 4 pressures and a sack. Arizona Cardinals. I snagged Francis Maui-Noah. Now, we could go wide receiver. Maybe you want to go with a running back. I think I'm going to switch gears to the defense because the linebacking room, outside of really Mac Wilson, hasn't been great. I think they have a ton of missed tackles this year. So I'm going to get in on this linebacker run before it's too late. And I'm going to grab Anthony Hill Jr. out of Texas. He had a nifty interception about a week ago against Georgia. Gunnar Stockton played it really well, but he's got great length. I think probably one of the better off-ball linebackers in this class who does have that blitz and upside. Fins up, baby. It's the Miami Dolphins. I could take a wide receiver here. There's some guys that are options that I don't mind. Ian Strong, I really think is going to return. He's, I think, a true junior, so kind of feel like he's going to return. But I look at like Elijah Surratt, Kobe Lane. They're not top 50 guys to me. They're just not. I love Omar Cooper. I really do. But I just don't think the wide receivers are there for me to take here. Instead, maybe I switch gears to the defense and help out with a pass rush that's potentially going to lose Bradley Chubb if he's like a post-June first cut. So I'm going to grab another pass rusher, someone who has a very high floor and can be a 3-down player. To me, that player is Zion Young out of Mizzou. Already a very good run stuffer. He shedded the weight, cleaned up his body a little bit, and he looks way more twitchy, and he has been a very active and alive pass rusher this season. So we're going to get him to pair up with Chop. Atlanta Falcons, this is their first pick. What are we going to do here? Well, I talked all that good stuff about how maybe there's not a wide receiver that I love for the Dolphins there. And I think that's, for the most part, true. Like, I love Omar Cooper. He's kind of my guy in this draft class. I love what he can do after the catch. I think his route running has just gotten better and better as the year has gone on. And I mean, you could pair that up with Jalen Waddle and be okay with it. You really can. When it comes to the Falcons, he's available here outside of Drake London and Kyle Pitts. The wide receiver room is absolute pants. So I'm going to snag Omar Cooper, wide receiver out of Indiana. Minnesota Vikings. I want to get that playmaker for JJ, specifically a running back. And the running back class, it's not great this year. It's just not. Outside of Jeremiah Love, you're going to have a big tier drop off. But his running mate back there, Jadarian Price, has been phenomenal. He's got that speed that can take it to the house, but he's also jacked to the gill. So I'm going to take me, Jadarian Price, for the Minnesota Vikings. New York Jets. I think we're going to probably stick with the defense here because we kind of got our quarterback of the future. We got a guy to pair up with Garrett Wilson. I think the offensive line's trending in the right direction. So you traded away Quentin Williams. We replace him with Christian Miller. I don't think there's a corner that can truly replace Sauce. I mean, you're not truly going to replace Sauce or Quentin Williams, but you're going to get guys that can come in there and compete. And maybe, just maybe, they end up being better than what you once had. Doubt it, but you never know. Yeah, there's not a corner I love at this pick, though. So instead, I'm going to look at that safety room because Cisco's a free agent. They've been starting Malachi Moore, and he's been kind of okay-ish. Tony Adams, just not a lot of people like Tony Adams, I guess. I think I'm going to go in on safety. We've only seen one come off the board. And I think the safety of preference here is probably going to be Dylan Thieneman out of Oregon, man. Playing hella good football. Carolina Panthers. So got some wide receiver help. This is a team that desperately needs pass rush help. And we're going to do that. I'm going to take R. Mason Thomas, pass rusher out of Oklahoma. Man, pass rushers, they're flying off the board. Kansas City Chiefs. So we did take a pass rusher in David Bailey in the first. I think if you want to look for that heir apparent for Travis Kelce, this might not be a bad area to do it because there's some fun tight ends that I think are going to be available in day 2. But this is fresh off of Friday night, right? I'm watching Florida State, North Carolina. Devin Marshall had an utterly bonkers game for NC State at corner. I'll talk about him in the stock report tomorrow, but he's not available in the mock draft simulator. Not that I would take him here. But Justin Jolie, my goodness. My goodness. I'm always a sucker for guys that can create after the catch. And knowing that he put on more mass this year, that should have been a signal to me that, hey, you love after the catch guys. Well, Jolie is that. You should have had him higher. And I feel like I should have. He's been doing nothing but standing out and making big plays for the Wolfpack. So we're going to take Jolie here to be the heir apparent to Travis Kelce. Pick 48. It's the Pittsburgh Steelers. We took Ty Simpson in the first, which means, I don't know if there's a wide receiver I specifically love here. There really isn't. Instead, I'm going to look to the offensive line. And I don't know if Caleb Tiernan ends up being a tackle in the NFL. If he does, great, because you're not 100% sold on Broderick Jones. But even if he ends up being a guard, Isaac Samalu is going to be someone who you probably move off of. I think he's actually a free agent this season. Let me go check that real quick. Let's see. We're looking at the guard class, and yeah, Isaac Samalu. He is currently listed as my guard 2, entering this free agent class coming up. He will be entering his age 32 season, though. So I think we're going to get in on that. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and grab Caleb Tiernan. I'm a big fan of his game. Big fan. Houston Texans. We got some offensive and defensive interior help. And I think now let's get in on this linebacker class. Let's get someone who just fits the mentality and that flies all over the place and is a phenomenal athlete. Someone that D'Amico Ryans would be like, I can see myself in that guy. Well, I don't know if he would say this about Jake Golday, but Golday has been a hot riser for a lot of people. Phenomenal athlete at a very good size. So we're going to grab Golday. Detroit Lions. I took TJ Parker in the first. This one was a little tough trying to figure out where to go with it. Ultimately, I think I settled on, Mahogany was playing okay before he got hurt. Tate Rowledge has been having a relatively okay rookie year, but you could always kick him into center if you want to, which opens up the option to go elsewhere and go with an Emmanuel Pregnon out of Oregon, another guy that's been a big riser. Does pick 50 feel a little rich? Yes, but not like it's a insane reach, or at least when it comes to my board. Baltimore Ravens. I grabbed Caden Proctor. Now I want to switch gears to this defense. Quincy Rhodes Jr., 6'6", 275 pounds, moves really well at that size. Think we could grab him and just bank on the traits, pair him up with Mike Green, and hopefully we have a pass rush. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I snagged Cassius Howell. I just saw a tight end come off the board in Justin Jolie. Cade Otton's a free agent. I think we're going to go with the tight end. I'm going to take Max Clare out of Ohio State. I'm going to talk about him tomorrow in the stock report as well. But, dude, they had Jeremiah Love, Carnell Tate out for that game. And finally, you got to see what Clare can do with a little bit of volume. And it was good. Buffalo Bills. I took Denzel Boston. I think now I take a linebacker. Linebackers typically an easy position to mock to the Buffalo Bills. Linebacker I'm going to go with because they do like having some athleticism at linebacker, and that's why I'm going to go with Whit Weeks, who could end up returning. He's been a little banged up and missed the last few games, but he's a really good athlete and just gets after it. Heat-seeking missile. I love Jacob Rodriguez. I don't think the testing's going to be great from him compared to like a Weeks. So that's why I have Weeks here instead of Rodriguez. But I really had to discuss that sucker. Really did. Jacksonville Jaguars. This is actually their first pick. I think ultimately you look at the corner room and it's like, it feels like we're kind of in trouble. So is there a corner we can take here? I think there is. This might be a little early, but I don't mind. Chris Johnson's been phenomenal for the Aztecs. I think he has 2 pick sixes this year. Good on you. I know he has at least one because I watched the Cal game. But yeah, I think we'll grab him to get some help for the secondary. San Francisco 49ers. Now, I got Chris Bell in the first. I think it's time to go to the maybe. I don't know if I love that. Okay, I would be considering Caden Green, the left tackle out of Missouri, who could end up being a guard in the NFL, but I'd give him a whirl at tackle first. We could take him here. But you also have Nick Bosa and Mikael Williams coming off season-ending injuries. So maybe with LT Overton still being available here, he's kind of a freak with his size, his girth, but yet his movement skills. Can be a 3-down player. I think you could take him, and yeah, you don't have to rush back Williams or Bosa. Hopefully. Green Bay Packers, this is their first pick. Listen, I would like to go corner if there was a corner here, but there is not. Instead, I was just talking about Caden Green. Can he play left? Is he going to be playing left tackle or left guard in the NFL? Honestly, I don't think it really matters because for the Packers, you got Rasheed Walker, who's going to be a free agent. Jordan Morgan, you could always kick out to tackle, see if it works there, or he stays put at guard. Regardless, I think Green adds some much needed depth and someone who made the move from guard to tackle and has been having a phenomenal year. Got the Los Angeles Chargers on the clock, first round. I took Amari Washington. I feel like that's now hinting for me to move to the offensive interior. And I think we're going to take Jennings Dunker here, who's just a phenomenal run blocker for Iowa. And he plays with that NFL nasty, wants to bury guys 6 feet deep. So I think that's right up Jim Harbaugh's alley. Chicago Bears, first round, we took Caleb Lomu. And we haven't seen a lot of safeties go, right? We had Caleb Downs in the top 10, but then Dylan Thiemann went at 45. I think this is a good spot. I think Brisker's, I believe, a free agent. Let's take a quick gander. Yep, he is indeed a free agent. Kevin Byard is up there in dog years. So I'm going to go with Emmanuel McNeil Warren out of Toledo. Great size and good instincts. Seattle Seahawks. I took Colton Hood, corner out of Tennessee in the first. And now I believe We can move to the offensive line. Right now, their right guard position is still kind of open. Anthony Bradford, he hasn't played particularly well the last couple of years. Maybe you have your center in Sundell, but getting a guy that probably can play both. I'm curious to see what the NFL actually projects him at. Is he going to be a guard or is he going to be a center? Right now, he plays right tackle. I'm going to take Brian Parker the second. Get him into camp, figure out what position best suits him. Pick 60, Indianapolis Colts. And Caleb Banks is very talented. He's been slowed down by a foot injury. He had a foot injury prior to the season, and then he re-aggravated it against LSU. But that last stretch of play in 2024 was something to behold. Like, it was just really good. So maybe you just bank on that. Bank on him at the very least helping the pass rush in Indianapolis. Philadelphia Eagles. This one was kind of tough. I tossed and turned with a couple of ideas. Ultimately, I settled on Carter Smith, tackle out of Indiana. I think he probably profiles best as a guard in the NFL, but you could give him a shot at tackle, develop him there, and maybe he could be the heir apparent to Lane Johnson. Denver Broncos pick 62. I took Sonny Styles. I think I'm going to stick with the defense, oddly enough, just because I think the value is really good here. They have a couple of free agents on the defensive interior. So I'm going to grab a Dominic Orange, Big Citrus out of Iowa State. New England Patriots. I kind of want to go with a defensive player, but I kind of like this idea of getting someone who can add, again, the variety, the spice of life to the wide receiver room. It feels like Kyle Williams will be, hopefully, the Stephon Diggs replacement. Right now, Mac Hollins is playing a lot of football. Let's try to figure out if we can solve that. I think, again, if Ian Strawn, if I had him as not returning, he would be a big option here. Ultimately, though, I'm going to go with Jacoby Lane, the wide receiver out of USC. As long as he doesn't pull any of that dumb crap that he did this past weekend where he got unsportsmanlike conduct, then we should be A-okay. Big body, long frame, good hands. And then with the final pick in the first round, it's the Rams. I have Jeremiah Love. I have Avion Terrell. And I think let's just go ahead and get the heir apparent from Matthew Stafford. I mean, sure, he's probably right now living off of virgin's blood. That's why he's playing to this level at his age. Who knows how long Matthew Stafford can go, though? Maybe he could go for another couple of years, and you don't necessarily have to go in on a quarterback. But I don't mind taking a shot. Again, there's not a lot of great quarterbacks in this class. You could make an argument for Garrett Nussmeier here. I have Lenore Sellers returning. Same with John Mateer. Sam Levitz, I believe, already plans to enter the transfer portal. Jaden Mayava is not coming off his best game against Oregon, but I think there's enough there to develop. So I'm going to grab him here for the Rams. And that's it. That's the mock draft. You go ahead. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Go ahead, become a bro and subscribe. Leave this video a thumbs up. But as always, until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.